So I've seen a lot of clips on YouTube with you having a heated debate with someone on TalkSport. Is there one that really sticks out in your memory? You think, oh, we had a really big argument about that?
I mean, I have arguments every week with Jason Cundy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a few moments where I'm like, oh, I dug out Tottenham a couple of seasons ago and it went down like a fucking lead balloon because I love Tottenham, right?
Yeah.
I love going down there and, you know, I like to be part of it and whatever. And I dug out the players and said none of them should be wearing a shirt. The only one who's fit enough to wear the shirt is Harry Kane. The rest of them are a fucking disgrace. You know, like I went in like for 10 minutes. It was a proper rant. And Daniel Levy reached out and was like...
Did he?
Yeah, and was like... He got one of the people to phone me and was like, nah, not having that. It's not good enough. You play for Tottenham. And I was like... I really rattled her feathers. I went to interview Harry Kane and he refused to do an interview with me.
Okay.
Because I'd really pissed them off because I dug out the players personally.
Yeah.
You know, like saying, you are not good enough. You, and you, and you. I was only saying what people... Everyone was saying the same thing.
The fans are saying that.
Yeah, the fans were saying it.
Yeah.
I just said it.
Yeah.
And they saw it as it's disrespectful because I was a player. And that probably was, you know, in my part, you know, yeah, I maybe shouldn't have named names. But it was my job. I said to Tottenham, I said, I'm getting paid to have an opinion.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion. Whether you like it or not is an opinion. You know, if I don't give you an honest opinion, people are going to see through me.
Yeah.
And I'll be out the door. And you ain't going to pay me. Are you giving me an ambassador role?
Yeah.
Are you paying for me to come down to the training ground and be part of the top? No, I need to get paid. So my opinion is that's what I'm saying. And TalkSport are paying me for that opinion, and I had to give it. And then you know, I've always kind of just tried to be pretty honest. I have plenty of rows on now. I've had rows with Laura over Arsenal, and you know, always. But I see TalkSport for me. You know, I've done Sky as well, which I love doing Sky. But TalkSport was the radio, and they were like a team. They was like my Harry Redknapp, TalkSport. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they got behind me. Good people there.
Yeah.
You know, family. It's a very family orientated place. People start, you know, who work there from being, you know, like on the phones, picking up the phone, to now being the bosses. You know, like it's a proper family knit company. And they got behind me and they supported me and they pushed me on and they gave me, you know, media training and broadcasting training. And so I've always had a really close-knit connection with all of the people there. I love working with them. And so now it's like, well, I love to have a laugh with Laura and Jason and all that, but I'm trying to make it now where, because I've gone into the presenting side of it, which fucking come out of nowhere. I was like, how has this happened? And now it's like I've just tried to create where I love the family network of everyone. So now it was like a little TalkSport network of us, Laura and Ali and Alan and Jason and, you know, Gabby. Now it's like, right, I want to bring everyone into the family, and the fans, and that's really good. And that's why the Sports Bar, I think, has been, you know, godsend for me because I get to speak to fans all the time.
What's your most controversial football opinion?
God, that's a tough question.
Something that you think that a lot of other people would disagree with, and you can't really see why. Perhaps. Could be something else.
Controversial football opinion. I'm trying to think here.
We can come back to that one if anything comes to mind as we go through.
I mean, my dad always said that Wayne Rooney was overrated. And I used to agree with him until I played against him. And then I was like, Dad, he's definitely not overrated. I promise you now, he ain't fucking overrated. He's unbelievable. I mean, I guess controversial opinions, you know, people talk about Van Dijk. You know, I think he's overrated.
Right. Even this season, he seems to be back.
I mean, this season, I think he's been better, but I still think he's overrated. I still think, you know, when you talk about... I always look back at players that I played against, John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, Vincent Kompany, you know, Ledley King. I played with Ledley. I always look at Van Dijk and I think, yeah, he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's you know, he's top class. I'm not saying he's shit.
Yeah.
You know, is he a legend? Well, he was playing for Celtic and he played for Southampton, and then he had a couple of good seasons at Liverpool and he's done well. But he's not John Terry. He's not Rio Ferdinand. You know, I don't think he's on that level. And I think that annoys a few people when we throw that one out.
Imagine Liverpool fans that aren't often at best at hearing things that they don't.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, look, we like to poke people, we give it. Newcastle's only a big club in Newcastle, things. But I mean, there's so many little things that you can have a dig at. What's the biggest derbies and things like that. But you know what? Like, I just love to have the fun and have the banter. Like with Arsenal fans, you dig up, and I think people now know that. It's not, it's not like a personal vendetta. We're having other football fans, and I've got my team, and I think the great thing about the media where I've gone, and I think TalkSport have gone that way a little bit, is you don't need to be neutral.
Yeah.
Like you see pundits now on certain programs who have to give like a neutral answer.
Right.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a Spurs fan. Everyone knows I'm a Spurs fan.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about Spurs and I'm going to big up Spurs and I'm going to say Arsenal are shit.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But because that's what people do in the street or in the pub or at a game. There's rivalry. Yeah. And that's what makes it fun. If there's no rivalry, Celtic and Rangers play against each other now. There's no fans. Like they're not. They don't have away support and they hate it. Football's about having rivalry. And that's so... I love it that I can argue with an Arsenal fan, even if they're right. I'll still argue with them, because I'm poking the bear a little bit. And with Jason now, I work with Jason all the time, and he's brilliant at winding people up, and he's the best at having a wind up with people. But it's fun in a nice way.
Yeah.
And we like to, we've got the Chelsea rivalry, and I had the rivalry with Laura, and I think. All this neutral rubbish. Oh, you've got to be neutral. Well, no, you haven't.
I think the rise of fan channels, like on YouTube, have shown that people really very much are into that. They want to know, they want to hear people not watering down if their team's been crap. They want to have someone telling it how it is, and they want to...
Exactly.
They want to be like that.
You see some of them, they're massive now, huge. I don't even know who half of these people are.
What do you think about that? Obviously, a lot of these people never played the game. They're giving opinions. I imagine at this point, swaying the opinions of fan bases. That's good for the game, bad for it.
Look, everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Yeah.
Everyone's entitled to an opinion. Whether you're an expert or not, whether you've played, you're still entitled to an opinion. You go and watch your team play every week, then you're entitled to that opinion. I get the sometimes when people start talking about tactical decisions or decisions that's made, in a game that he's never been in that situation ever in his life. Maybe in a school playground where he was the last one to get picked.
Or on FIFA or something.
Yeah, or he played it on FIFA, And he's given a decision, or he's talking, they're talking about, a movement that someone's made or a decision someone's made in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off. Like, you've never been in that. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, you've never been in that moment. But I respect everyone's opinion. Like, everyone's entitled to that opinion.
If you enjoyed that was just a small clip from my conversation with Jamie O'Hara. If you want to watch the full podcast episode, you can do so right here.